What is up, everybody? It's another Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, so you know what that means. It's time for you to sit back, pour yourself a cold one, relax, roll yourself a green one if that's the way you want to fucking hang out. But sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin, and we are brought to you by the MWA Podcast Network. Make sure and do me a favor, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button wherever you're watching us. As long as you're watching us, as long as you're following us, that's all that matters. But guys, I'm really excited because my guest tonight is a returning guest. He has been on the show before, and he is now the new PWA heavyweight champion. Tough stuff, Ricky South, and I'm really looking forward to talking to him. But before I bring out Mr. Tough Stuff, Ricky South, oh, that's a tongue twister. Try saying that 3 times really fast. You're going to struggle. Guys, just want to take a quick second to thank A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is the company you've always heard me raving on about. They make custom wrestling cups, hoodies, T-shirts, keychains, tumblers. They made me my custom CM Punk tumbler you always see, for every show that I have. They do a great product for a great price. So do yourself a favor, go over, check them out, and you'll get a bargain today. Guys, also Signal Studios is that recording studio based in Sydney, Australia. If you're a musician, you're looking for a place to jam, a place to rehearse, a place to get those creative juices flowing, you will not find a more comfortable recording space than Signal Studios. Or if you're an independent professional wrestler and you want to get yourself some new entrance music, you can hit up Signal Studios. They work with amazing bands like the Cicadas, who provided my entrance music for me. They can get any type of music that you want. They can mix, master, produce, and send it out to you anywhere in the world. So guys, make sure to check it out. I can see people in the chat already here. We got Kyle Eade here tonight. We've also got Facebook user. Welcome, Facebook user. Make sure you can click the link above, guys. You can give StreamYard permission so we can see who you are, or you can go to YouTube and your name will come up like Kyle's here. But guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring him out. The PWA heavyweight champion, Tough Stuff, Ricky South. Ricky, good to have you back.
Pleasure to be back here, Piers. I got to say, that intro with the PWA champion tagline never gets old. It's a running gag that I keep saying it on repeat. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. I don't think it'll ever get stale, and I absolutely bloody love it. So awesome to be here, my man.
Mate, it's awesome to have you. I was at the last PWA, the last show at the Factory Theatre. It started out with a kiss, and your match, the story that you guys told, man, I don't think that there was a dry eye in the house, man. It was really everyone there was so emotional.
Well, I think something like what we did, we had a story that had over about a year's build into it, finally pay off, and the crowd got to finally see someone dethrone such a formidable and imposing champion like Caveman Ugg was. And I just got to think, just a lot of the pieces just managed to fall into place without us really needing to put them there. So I just got to say, very lucky for myself to be in that position, and very lucky to have the support of the crowd and the fans, which definitely added something I can't describe to the environment, to the atmosphere that was there that night.
Yeah, and one thing that I really liked was the story that you told, from the show before at the Factory Theatre, when the match was announced, you pretty much falling to your knees, thank fuck, this time has finally come, I've waited 12 months for this opportunity. And you could feel that emotion then, where it's as a wrestling fan, I was fucking hook, line, and sinker. I'm already looking to buy the ticket. You know what I mean? And I think that is a performer where, someone like Ugg that you're going up against, who doesn't necessarily cut many promos or say much in his promos, you being the main driving force in that feud, how was it for you to find that emotion each time? Was it just because you seemed so worked up and so much, not worked up, but a lot of passion in each promo that you did leading up to the show?
Look, I don't think it was that hard to find the emotion, because the emotion was there. Quite honestly, I had been waiting for that match. I had that match. I think it was 5 days out from. I think it was March 10th, 2020. 5 days out from having the match, and then the world basically shut down. So for about a month, all I ever kind of really wanted was I just wanted that match. I just wanted the title. So when that match did get announced, what you saw was just very authentic and was just a very real reaction. Because it's just something I have had as a bit of a goal and something I have had in mind. So in terms of pulling out the emotion for the promos and the hype videos, again, it was just something that comes very freely, because when the topic is something like PWA or the work that I do, or a match that I'm going into, I always usually tend to speak from the heart. And whenever people kind of speak a little bit phony or a little bit fabricated, you can always sort of sense that, and you can always sort of sense that it's been put on. So I always really want to try and avoid that.
Yeah, and it definitely felt that way. Like the emotion definitely felt real. Like it felt like nothing was phoned in on that. And every promo and hype video that I saw got me more and more excited for this match. And like you and Ugg, like that match that you guys put on was just nothing short of amazing. Like two big dudes just beating the living shit out of each other. You know, like next day, how did you feel? Because that looked like that was a pretty stiff match. You know, you guys went pretty hard, man.
Look, next day felt pretty rough, but again, see, baby, the feeling of winning is always going to be the better feeling. It's always going to mask any of the pain. But again, being professional wrestlers or being athletes that we are, the next day I just continued my routine. Saturday morning means I got to go up, go to the gym, go to training, and just basically the routine is what helps me overcome any of this sort of the niggling injuries or the fatigue or any of the post show day soreness.
You just keep grinding, bro. You know, like
you just keep grinding. I'm of the philosophy you don't give your body a chance to realize the detriment or the horrible condition you're putting it through.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the best mindset to have, where it's like, you know, you just, if you don't feel it, like there's difference, but I suppose being injured and being sore. And I think there's a fine line, you know, for a lot of people.
There's a fine line. I mean, having, you know, a red chest because Caveman Ugg chops you about 50 bazillion times is a little bit different to, you know, breaking a leg, breaking an ankle, something that like stops you physically. You know, if you've just kind of, you know, tweaked something here, or, you know, just fatigued, to me, that's something that you can work through if you've got the right mindset and the right routine.
Now that you've had, like, you know, obviously been in the business for a few years now, like the way that you work out, is it different to when you first started wrestling? Like, do you train a different sort of way? Like, obviously the pro wrestling training, but also like weight training and cardio, has that all sort of evolved and changed?
Yeah. When I first started out, I just thought it was just kind of, you know, bodybuilder sort of look. So I try to get in the gym and try and lift as much weight as possible. Again, and a lot of wrestlers realize this, it's more of training to be an athlete as opposed to training just to have good sort of showy or artificial muscles. So my training has evolved to a little bit more of a plyometric, a little bit more of an explosive sort of focused workout. Every now and then I do throw in strength-based workout regimes. So I've incorporated some strongman training into that as well. I've also adapted and tried to really make it a goal to improve my mobility and just see the physio a little bit more to help me on that side, to help me on my recovery. Yeah, but in that saying as well, there is that feeling that you always get when you go in and you lift heavy or you smash out a good gym session. That always gives you a good sort of boost. So
Mm.
I do about that one about once a week as well.
Yeah, nice. So like you have to have obviously a good balance of type of training to do what you guys do, man. Like pro wrestling wise, like the cardio level, and I think like a lot of people, and I've got a background in boxing and MMA, and you'd see it all the time. Like people would come in, never boxed or done any of that sort of training before, and it's like, oh yeah, and they don't get it, and after 4 punches they're just blown up. It's I can imagine it's like that with a lot of newer type of people coming in and trying with pro wrestling, that you'd see that maybe you hadn't thought about the cardio aspect and the fitness aspect of pro wrestling that goes into it.
Oh, brother, we get all kinds of athletes or people with different sort of athletic backgrounds into the academy. And for example, we get a lot of just track runners or athletes come in thinking that because their sort of cardio is high, just doing track or just doing field, that's just going to easily translate into cardio here at wrestling, and they die so quickly, and they just die in the ass because they don't realize that although there is a high level of cardio, it's also preservation and muscular endurance as well, and again a lot of just calisthenics. So there's a few different parts at play that make up a good, well-rounded cardio machine for pro wrestling. And it's really weird. The only way to improve your cardio for pro wrestling is by doing pro wrestling. There's nothing really kind of like it. You can't just jump on a treadmill for about 20 minutes and expect that translates to a 20-minute match. Just doesn't work that way.
Oh, 100%. And, I found that with jiu-jitsu was like the workouts I'd have with doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu would be different to doing like a cardio workout or something like that because of how using different muscle groups and explosiveness as well. Like it'd be the same in pro wrestling, like the movements and, the muscles of lifting and putting people back down and working, out and making it look good as well. So it's like that aspect on top.
And plus, what people don't also realize, which is really vexing, is the over the top character. That is very, very, very exhausting. If you're doing that for about 20 or 30 minutes, it takes a lot out of you. Not everyone can be like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky in round 6. For 30 minutes. We have to be that level of intensity for that long. It's not easy.
Oh, absolutely not. And, obviously it's taken you years to get where you're at now as being, one of the, if not the top performer in the country right now.
I wouldn't say so, but those who kind of do mention that, I always think it's very high praise.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But that just proves how humble that you are about it, though, as well, man. So,
always humble.
That's the way to be, man. But but now being like the PWA champion, like what opportunities now is that opening up for you match wise as well? Like I can see Sam Osborne's, who won the Rumble, is up and coming as well. So is that going to be the first match that we see you defend the title?
I don't know. I think judging off the promo that was released at our last Academy show, it makes me think that perhaps Sam may challenge Jessica Troy, which means I am looking for a worthy competitor. So who that is in PWA, I don't know. It may not be anyone in PWA. It may be someone outside of PWA, and that really excites me. But obviously having that title means I've got a lot more eyes on me and a lot more people wanting to kind of take what I got. So it does open up a lot more opportunities, but a hell of a lot more threats.
Oh, 100%. Who would you like to face?
I would like to face See, here's the thing. When people ask who would I like to face, I would like to face so many people, so many different people, for so many different reasons. But I'll just try and say about 2 or 3.
Sure.
I would like to face Julian Ward from EPW. I think we would just mesh very well. I would like to wrestle Davis Storm once again, because although I did wrestle him about 2 years ago, I feel like both of us have grown, and our experience, or my experience at least, has developed a little bit more than what it was. And the third one, I'm only really sticking domestically, I want to go in there and see what I can do with Royce Chambers.
Ooh.
Flippy guy kind of annoys me, so just
you know what? I think that would be a pretty cool match to see, actually. You and Royce, and even any of those three would be main event matches anywhere in the country. But like, one guy like that I could see you having a really good match would be Richie Taylor from Melbourne. Like his sort of style and your sort of style, I reckon would tell like a pretty cool hard.
I can see that. I can see that. And again, I don't know if I like matches or with people who are similar to me, or have a same sort of style, or who are vastly different. For some reason, just a lot of different wrestles tickle my fancy for a whole array of reasons. And you know what? Now that you say it, Richie Taylor is one of them.
Yeah,
there's probably one that I'm thinking about now. And you know what? We can probably make some fucking magic. And then I'm thinking like, yeah, okay.
I think
probably
you guys
be good.
I think you guys would tear the house down. Like, both styles are so intense and so strong and hard hitting that it, it'd make for a definite fucking banger of a match. But have you thought about obviously now we've come out of somewhat come out of COVID, and obviously shows have started opening up, and Australia is pretty much the only place in the world where shows are performing at like 200-300 plus people at an event, where we're seeing over in the US the smaller type of shows where the 50 to 100, and obviously PWA did the academy shows with capped at 50 people. But how do you feel like going from the academy shows to going back to like a factory theater, and eventually obviously going back to Max Watts, which from what I've been told is a beast all in its own? But as far as like the academy shows, did you enjoy working those shows like in the smaller crowds?
I really did. The smaller crowds obviously are a lot more intimate and give off a little bit more of a vibe that's a little bit more unique, one that you don't get if you're in factory theater or Max Watts. Obviously, just by the sheer closeness with the crowd, there's a lot more interaction, a lot more back and forth. And you do, I just saw someone comment, do a flip. Eric,
sorry.
I do not flip. Sorry, I do not flip at all. Anyway, but yeah, like the smaller audiences are really great for a lot of interaction, and anytime we do have those small audiences, I really try and make that a priority. But on the flip side, when we do have our factory theaters, our Max Watts, and any venue that's bigger than that, having that attraction, having that size, will only bring us more eyes that are not already on the product. So our May 8th show, that's our return show to Max Watts. I anticipate that will hopefully be one of our most viewed streams on Fight TV, both domestically and internationally, because we are back at that venue at 100% capacity. Probably
wow,
the only places in the world that are able to do something like that. Obviously, the other states in Australia are able to, but we are in that unique position to take advantage of something like that.
Man, absolutely. And May 8th, man, that's my birthday weekend, bro. So, maybe I've got to get myself a ticket and come down to that one. I gotta come to that. You
Mate,
twisted my arm.
It will. I didn't need to do much twisting, brother. But
That's it, bro.
Yeah, it will be an absolute belter of a weekend. So that show, you can take my word for it, will be an absolute cracker.
Yeah. Can you give us a scoop on who's going to be, what matches are going to be announced?
Well, Aussie Open and Velocities, and that's all I know.
Fair enough.
That's all.
Actually, yeah. So we don't know if you're going to be on the card?
If someone wants to wrestle me, then I think I may be on the card. But again, the only thing. You just have to wait and see. The only thing I know for sure is that we got Velocities and Aussie Open.
That's going to be a pretty crazy match, man. It's seeing you guys perform at Factory Theatre in the last two shows, both shows absolutely amazing from bell to bell, and it's great to see you guys in a bigger element like that, and I really can't wait to see what you guys can do at Max Watts.
Well, how do we top a Rumble show? But I can guarantee we're going to top it.
I'm sure you guys will, man. And it's a lot happening. But also on the last show, at the end of the show, when it went off air on Fight TV, it was announced Matty Warburg was leaving PWA, and that was quite surprising. I think to quite a few people in the audience that were there in attendance. And that emotional, send off and goodbye, you could definitely see like everyone around the ring and people were in tears in the crowd and everything like that. How was that for the locker room that night? Because, obviously you being, the new champion and the top of the card, so to speak, would be looked at like a locker room leader. How was it when everyone went backstage? Was it that feeling of somberness? Like, what can you say?
Look, it was a very weird feeling, but I would sum up the feeling as bittersweet. Bitter in the sense that we don't, we're not going to have Matty Warburg on our shows for quite a while. We don't know when Matty Warburg's going to be back, so not having his energy, not having his vibe, and not having his competitive spirit during the shows and during our training sessions, that is going to be missed. But sweet in the sense that anytime one of us get to go off and do bigger and better things wherever they may be, fuck, man, you can't do anything else but be happy and celebrate for him.
100%.
Although selfishly we do want Warburg and anyone else to kind of stay with us and enjoy the journey. But man, a lot of people are of that talent whereby you just got to let them go and have the world witness them,
Well, I kind of think that that's like evolution in any profession, really. Like people work themselves up and, that they look for that next step in their career, wherever it may be or whatever it is doing. But it's, I think that that's the thing. If you're passionate about something and you want to develop a career in what you're doing, that sometimes you do have to make those decisions to move on from places, even if you love them,
Yeah, no, and 100%. And obviously everyone's goal when they come into wrestling is to grow and expand and be bigger than where they currently are. And I think that's Warburg's next step.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's, who knows where it is, he's definitely got the talent to go anywhere in the world. There's no doubt about that. So
who knows?
But what do you think?
Knows?
Exactly. But what do you plan to be like as a champion moving forward? Like, what are your plans for the PWA championship and to represent that title? Where do you see yourself in that picture, and how do you plan to represent it?
Well, first of all, I plan to represent or be a PWA champion that is actively present on PWA shows. So Unlike the former champ, much love to Caveman Ugg, I do intend to be on as many Black Label shows as possible. I am, in fact, the only wrestler, I think, to have appeared on every Black Label show. So I want to keep that going. I want to keep that run going with Champ. I want to make my presence obviously known a lot more domestically as well. And I know COVID's going to really be a bit of a struggle for me on this one, but I really want to try and make the PWA championship a little bit more internationally known. So whether that means going overseas, having to compete internationally, then that's going to be my goal. That may not be a realistic goal for this year, but hopefully next year when I'm still champ, because there's no way I'm going to be losing it, that'll definitely be high up on my list.
Yeah, man. Like, I think, anywhere you can take, the title and to another country and other promotions and put it in the face of another set of fans where people sort of take notice of it. And I think wrestling fans are, especially when they go to promotions, they know who the champions are. They know when what the championships look like. So when something new comes out, it automatically grabs their attention. And
100%.
And I definitely think that being on Fight TV has grabbed a lot of people's attention as well for you guys, so it's, I've got friends in the US that have watched both shows and just been absolutely over the moon with what they've seen, and as far as like being on Fight TV, how much of that was a massive accomplishment for you guys, like as far as like growth and development of a business?
I think it was just the natural next step. I think where we were with OVO Play was, again, sufficient. Was sufficient for where we wanted to be. But in terms of our strategic goal and plan going forward in the future and how we grow, I think Fight TV offered us the best platform and the best service that would facilitate that growth. And what they do lined up perfectly probably with what our goals are. And it just seemed like a very natural fit.
Oh, 100%. And, Fight TV being, like seen all over the world and having so many people, on it as well. And as I said before, wrestling fans, they love sniffing out new wrestling content, new wrestling things. So when they see pro wrestling from Australia, that's going to interest them and see what it is.
Mate, fans in general, but I feel like wrestling fans more so love to be, on the hot new thing before it's hot.
Yeah.
So when people get to be, on the PWA train or the Aussie wrestling train before we bloody explode, they're going to be the first ones to say, man, we were watching PWA, when they were in the days of Max Watts or when they were in the days of Factory Theatre. They want that.
Oh, 100%, man. And I think that, that's where, like, you see the hardcore wrestling fans, it's like they like stuff which is a little bit underground, a little bit edgy. That's why I think, indie wrestling has been probably hot for the last, 5 to 10 plus years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, people like that underground grunginess of certain things, like almost like away from the big corporation,
Yeah. But now they got to find like the indie of the indie wrestling. The indie wrestling used to be, just ROH and, all these other big companies, IWA Mid-South. But now you need to venture out further and what's in the little niche pocket of professional wrestling or indie wrestling, which in itself is its own niche. So, man, it's wild. Sorry for going on a little bit of a tangent, but
no, dude, not at all.
You know what's wild? I'm quite passionate about.
Dude, you know what's wild? I actually watched not long ago the You Can't Kill David Arquette movie documentary thing. And like how they have like the Mexican luchadors like wrestling at the stoplights and doing shit like that. That to me was just like, fuck, that really? Like that's insane. Like they just do like a little couple of like high spots and a chair shot and
yep. Awesome. But, absolutely fantastic entertainment.
Oh, 100%, and I think it's different levels of what people are trying to find right now. So Sean Hooker said that Ricky gave me his fried cornbread at Factory Theatre because he's the nicest guy on the planet. Wow, there you go.
Really? Look, Sean, like, I got to be honest with you. Like, I love that cornbread. Like, Phil at the Jamaican food truck makes great food. So if I gave you some cornbread, you must have done something special, or you must have just got me at the right time, or you must have hit me in the feels or something. Because that cornbread's awesome. It'd take a lot for me to share that cornbread.
Mate, there you go, Sean. You must be one of the lucky ones.
Damn.
Or maybe you weren't looking and he just came and just like, oh, thanks, Rick.
broke
him off a piece.
Yeah, no, and maybe he's just saying nice things that I offered it to him, but I'll take it, Sean. You're the man. Cherish it.
No, 100%, man. But it's it's funny that there you go. He's commented again.
Cornbread love.
Cornbread love. Now I want to try this cornbread, man. It sounds fucking ridiculous.
It's great. Factory Theatre.
Far out. I haven't eaten the food there, so I've got to check it out, man. But
yeah, they have a good Jamaican food truck. Phil is the guy who runs it. He great joint.
There you go. Make sure you hit up Phil at the Jamaican food joint.
Yeah. I don't know the name, but yeah. Tell him Mickey South sent you.
But like, as far as like storylines and going into more in-depth storytelling, is that something where you would want to take your character in a more of a direction of being in more long-term storytelling?
100%, I'd love to. However, I feel the landscape that we're in, it's always getting a little harder and harder to pull off long-term storytelling. And I feel what we did with the UGG was just a little bit fortunate in the fact that the story was that the world was shut down for over a year, which kind of just played into the match a little bit. But I very much do enjoy longer term storylines that give opportunity for nuanced sort of emotions to grow, or a little sort of slight, Easter eggs or little sort of variations. There's just a lot more possibility and a lot more avenues you can take with something that spans 6, 8, 12 months than something that's only about a month or 2 months. I much prefer a long-term story or story payoff than a immediate short-term burst of satisfaction.
Well, I suppose with the long-term storytelling, there's so many different little pockets you can always then take that story on. Like there's little things that you can add to it, and people that can step in and out of that storyline along the way. But you versus UGG really felt like almost like Taz versus Sabu, where like they built that up for 12 months. Like it had that sort of type of big fight feel. And that's where I was sort of getting at. Like, do you think we'll see more of those big build-ups for matches? And obviously a year's going to be a little bit like far-fetched, but do you think we could see like, a 2 to 3 month build-up of a storyline?
I think most definitely. And I'm hoping for it, and I want it, and I wish for it. But I think something that goes about 2 or 3 months, 4 months is something that is definitely achievable and attainable. And you know what? That's something that I would love to sink my teeth into as a champion.
Oh, 100%. And as far as looking at the PWA roster, like, it's completely stacked, but who would be some of the ones that you'd really like to sort of go in and that you think would be able to tell a good story with?
You know what? Someone like Mick Moretti, I think I'd be able to tell a good story with. Obviously, with the departure of Matty Wahlberg, that leaves Generation Now kind of a little unfinished. Someone like Paris De Silva or Jude London, taking them out of their tag team and getting them into the singles world. We could do great things. Again, Paris and I have had the distinction of putting on PWA Match of the Year a couple of years ago. who else? Obviously, Sam Osborne, Jessica Troy, Robbie Eagles. Then you got people like Matt Diamond, Headhunter Rig, Dazza Lucci, Matt Rogers. Yeah, so now I'm just listing off names, and these are just names of people I think like, man, I would love to actually just have a scrap with these people and just go into a little bit of a program. Thanks, Ben. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
rent free. Being champ means I live rent free.
And one of the things like that, that I saw at the first show when I first saw you perform was, Unsocial Jordan coming out and jumping you. And to me, like, I feel like there's a little bit of a untold story, like something that's been left on the table there. And I really think that could be like a really cool feud for you guys to have, because you guys were both in the same faction for a period of time. And, to me, like, having him jump you, there's still something there that, to me, I'd love to see that, between you two.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a fan.
Yeah. Now, look, honestly, being in SMS was a different experience, but leaving SMS was for the better. But I know this wacky world that we live in, pro wrestling, I have not seen the last of Unsocial Jordan. It's, our interaction at that show where he attacked me is definitely not my last interaction with him. So I just don't know when that day will come.
Watch out, Unsocial Jordan. But yeah, there you go. Don't piss off the champ.
Don't piss off the champ. That turtleneck's coming off, mate.
That's it. Don't fucking piss off Ricky South. Simple as that, man.
It's simple. Like, again, just all cool, all chill. I'm very dude-like, but don't piss me off. Don't fucking annoy me. Or the leader of the Bad Bitch Nation, Kingsley. Yeah,
that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Charlie Evans, there you go. Another one. That'd be another hard-hitting, insane match. But I think it as well, like, there's so much talent in PWA. I think that it's just, it'd be hard to pinpoint one person, because I think everyone can do something amazing in their own different way, and I think everyone brings something different to the table. And I think that's probably the thing that makes, your organization stand out that little bit more.
Yeah. And I think we have such a vast and deep roster that no matter what your fancy for professional wrestling is, we got it covered.
Yeah.
So I
like a smorgasbord.
Yeah, we have a smorgasbord. We have an antipasto platter of wrestling styles.
The wrestling buffet. Head to PWA. They'll make sure you leave full and satisfied. But it was fun. There you go. Nice. Yeah, feel free to use it, man.
Good catch. Good tagline.
Full and satisfied. There you go. Well, my wife is pregnant with, like 7 months pregnant, so I could say she's full and satisfied. No, yeah.
Well,
I don't know about satisfied. She's in a lot of pain right now.
Well, treat her right.
100%.
Whatever she needs, food, sweets, loving and affection. That Piers Austin charm.
That's
whatever
it, man.
She needs.
That's it. But as far as like, now that we're started to see some states moving open, man, would you be, wanting to now start venturing out, maybe head down to Melbourne, or head to Perth and head to some of these other states and start wrestling, back out there?
I am ready in the works for that. I was fortunate enough to go to PCW down in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, which was a great experience. And yeah, I'm already in the works, trying to be bloody everywhere as much as I can.
That's fair enough, man. How'd you go down in PCW? I didn't know you were down there. My apologies.
No, please, no. I went really well. Wrestled Mark Cage for the PCW National Championship. I unfortunately did not win. Boy, if I win, I would have been a triple champion before Sunday. I would have had 3 belts. Oh, that would have been fantastic.
Ricky Three Belts. There you go.
Ricky Three
Yeah.
Belts.
And you mentioned wrestling at FWA just recently. How is it working at FWA at those shows? Do you enjoy those shows?
I do enjoy those shows. They're very much different. Again, different vibes, different atmosphere to what we perform with at PWA. But they are an environment for wrestlers to really try something different and experiment with their style or with their performance. Because with a different crowd and a different atmosphere, you can't just do the same old shtick. You got to be able to adapt and do something that's going to be likable to the crowd. So when I am at FWA, it's always a little bit of a challenge, but also being there at FWA, I always have fun because I always get to wrestle some really exciting matches and really exciting opponents.
Oh, absolutely, man. And, I think that as far as being able to go and try different things out, like, performance wise, whether it be in the ring or style wise, is that something that you're always trying to work out for yourself? Like, okay, how can I learn a new move, or what's something new that I could add to the repertoire of Ricky South?
Look, I am always looking to add to the lexicon of wrestling holds, moves, and knowledge that I have. But the tricky thing here is that what I do on the shows is 5% of the wrestling knowledge and the moves and the holds and the transitions that I can do or that I do know. So yeah, I have 95% of my game no one's actually ever seen publicly, which is phenomenal, which is really weird.
And why is that? Why is that?
I think when it comes to Ricky South, I've got a few tricks that never really fail me. I got a pile driver, a lariat, a couple other things. They don't really go astray. If I ever need to pull out the big ones or something different, then that's what I will do. But what is a big advantage is I can sure as shit, if I ever wrestled a luchador from Mexico, baby, I can take to that like water. There'll be no problem there. Anyone that wants to wrestle a little bit more of a European style, the old school English or world of sport style, I got no problem there. If you want to wrestle a bit of a style that's a little bit more influenced from pro wrestle from Japan, baby, I got that shit in spades. So I always try and learn more techniques, more styles, so I can just become a little bit more well-rounded as a wrestler as a whole.
And I suppose just because you can doesn't mean you should every single time either, like you pull certain things out for special occasions doesn't, I mean? Like, I think the more that you do certain things, the less of an impact that it has on, on the audience and everyone else.
Correct. Also, stay in your lane. I've got 1,001 arm submissions, but I ain't gonna fuck with Jessica Troy and her Fujiwara because she's the arm collector. Fucking, I'm not. So I'll stick to pile drivers and lariats. Oh, South versus Damian Slater.
That would be a 5-star match. I'd have to agree.
Would be a banger. That would be a 5-star match.
There you go. Let's let the audience what do you call fantasy book Ricky South?
Fantasy book Ricky South, yeah.
Fantasy book Ricky South in the comments. You throw the names out and we'll see if it interests Ricky's peak or not. So
yeah.
But
someone like I'll just quickly. Someone like Damian Slater is just so sleek and is just so pristine and clean with a lot of his movements. I feel like that match would be a very, very, beautiful match to watch.
Oh, 100%. If I was to pick you an opponent, anyone in the world, I'd have to say someone like Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that.
Just as far as like just two completely different types of characters, but two very aggressive ring styles. Whereas, like, I think that the story and everything would mesh really well, but I don't know. That's I would just throw that would be my fantasy book moment, I suppose.
Again, like I can honestly see that. If I was to fantasy book my match, which I will right now, the match I've always wanted. And Warburg and I always say, like, this is his number one match and this is my number one match. And if he gets this match before I get it, I'm going to be really pissed off. Number one match, Chris Hero. Just give me Chris Hero and then I'll be happy.
Fuck yeah. Not Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero.
No, oh, yeah. Even if it was Cassius Ohno. But give me if Chris Hero, and I just want to be out there and witness that awesome entrance music and just, yeah, Chris Hero.
Fuck yeah, man! I take that back, my one back. Yeah, I support that wholeheartedly. Like, Chris Hero would be a fucking amazing. He's like, I saw him have a ladder match with CM Punk not long ago, and it was like a 90-minute ladder match for IWA Mid South. It was one of the most insane matches I'd seen. Like, it was just ridiculous, and it was like in front of 100 people.
Well, the philosophy or the thought of me, the thought that I have of always trying to learn more techniques and further better my craft and different styles of wrestling so I can become a well-rounded wrestler, all really comes from the philosophy that Chris Hero had or shared. And obviously starting into pro wrestling, Chris Hero was very much an influence. So obviously, it just makes sense that I would have a desire to have that match with Chris Hero.
Oh, 100%. But were you, like, always a big, obviously, I'm assuming you're a fan of a lot of his indie stuff before WWE, even though you had some great matches in NXT as well. But were you always a big fan of indies?
Always a big fan of indies. And again, always a big fan of just wrestling that's outside of the mainstream, because once you kind of get a little bit of a taste for a certain sort of hobby or a subject or whatever, you kind of venture out and do a little bit more research. And I always envision it like, if you watch WWE and if you like one wrestler, if you give that wrestler a Google and it will say this wrestler wrestled this person, and then you go to that person, then you just find yourself on just a wild little rabbit hole, and then that's how you find out all these weird and wacky promotions and all these weird, wacky, awesome matches that have happened, and all these gimmicks and all these wrestlers. You just research and you just get into a hole.
That's literally how, like, I'll sit there and be reading about something, then I was like, oh, who's this? And click on that, and then it's just like, next thing you know, I'm like, 7 different people I've read about in the span of an hour. I'm like, oh, shit, and now I'm like taking notes. Watch this.
Then you're just deep diving into professional wrestling in the deepest, darkest corner of the world. Like, how do we get here? I don't know, but I like the journey.
Can you still sit down and enjoy pro wrestling as a fan and have that moment of escaping reality and enjoy it for what it is at times? Or do you find being in the business as, like, when you sit down and watch it, that you can't help but have, like, a certain critical eye to, or an appreciation of something good, but then also go, that wasn't the best? But can you sit there and enjoy it as a fan and, mark out at certain things? Or do you still have that, as I said, the critical eye at times?
I can, and it's just with a little bit of an asterisk. I can watch things as a fan without that critical eye, but more so on the product that's being produced locally. Only because I have seen and witnessed firsthand the effort and the struggles that a lot of the people locally have put in. So when I watch their matches, I don't watch their matches in a critical sense or with a critical eye. I watch their matches enveloped in the drama or enveloped in the story that they're trying to tell, because I know there's been a lot of effort put into it. So I just want to immerse myself in that. However, if someone asks, can you watch my match and provide feedback, then sure as shit, nice and easy. I can turn that one on a dime and be in a little bit more of an analytical or critical mode. In terms of a wider product like WWE, it's a little harder, I find. But the matches that I really want to see, or the matches that really intrigue me, are the matches that I find are easier for me to relax and unwind in. You know, because there's just something about certain matches that I want to see, and that just makes it obviously easier for me to switch off the analytical part of my brain.
And do you have like a couple of those matches that you could just watch over and over and over again, no matter how many times that you've seen it, and it just sort of still allows you to have that moment?
Yeah, look, and midway through COVID, I did a hashtag on Twitter that lasted about like 4 or 5 days, and it was a hashtag of the daily dose of wrestling goodness. And I tweeted out matches that I would just always usually just watch and just love. Just easy ones. Again, kind of like a chill night at home. You got nothing on, you'll just watch this match. Or, you know, you're down in the dumps or something like that, you just watch these matches.
Yeah.
I have a fair few, and they're actually, again, widespread. But one that I'll just give out, which I think is one of my favorite matches of all time. And again, I'm pretty sure it was Survivor Series 2002, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, unsanctioned match.
Ooh.
Shawn Michaels' first match back from a broken back, 4.5, 5 years out, comes back, and Triple H is an absolute asshole. And it's just, if you haven't seen that match, watch that match. It's just brilliant. I love it.
I remember it. That's when he was in, I think Shawn Michaels was in the jeans, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And
I think I can't remember too many hardcore matches prior to that in WWE where they wore jeans. I think like Shawn started the jeans look whenever you had like a hardcore match or a street fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. He had the jeans, and he just
And the knee pads over the jeans as well.
Oh, great style.
Oh, absolutely, man. 2002. What a year for fashion in pro wrestling, man. All the fanny packs or bum bags as we call them.
Oh, yeah, bum bags, fanny packs.
Does anyone actually like try and bring that gimmick back, like in the locker room, like they walk around like they got the bum bag on?
Well, I know Gino's a fan of the bum bag. So
Really?
Mr. Juicy. I know he is, but someone in PWA who's a massive fan of the bum bag is Big Fudge.
Really? I could see him with the bum bag. The bum bag.
Only because he has the unique ability to be in your face and possibly throughout, like, sell his merch on the road, mobile, because he sells chocolate. So he will be walking around, chocolate in one hand, bum bag full of cash, and be in your face. You can be sitting down or, you know, before the show, whatever. There's Big Fudge. He's mobile. He's a walking, talking, selling machine. You know, so he utilizes that bum bag.
I actually had him on the show, and he told me about a match. I believe he said it was you were involved, and it was a TLC tables, ladders, and chocolate match. Or you may have been in the match afterwards, and you slipped over. But I remember it, like your name was attached to this match for some reason. You know, how do you find like going and wrestling and doing the comedy style? Is that something that you enjoy doing as much as the seriousness and the passion type of style? You know, how do you find doing the comedy? Is it something that you enjoy doing just as much as the other?
I absolutely love doing the comedy. I won't say one, I prefer one over the other. I love doing them all, but I like to laugh. That's
Yeah.
shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people. I think a lot of people like to laugh. But I think comedy in wrestling can be done so well and can be done in such a unique way that some of the hardest times I've ever laughed have been through watching some Carmen and Kikutaro matches, just scrolling through YouTube or uh, through just Big Fudge's weird comedic sense and timing that he just nails each and every time. So I'm very much a fan of it. I absolutely love it. And there's obviously a time and a place for that shit, which I absolutely adore.
Oh, 100%. And good comedy wrestling, when it's good, it's fucking amazing.
Oh, it's the best thing on earth.
Oh, 100%. And it's like, but it's like anything, good wrestling's good wrestling, across any genre, any style. It's, good wrestling's good wrestling, and good comedy wrestling and telling a good story where it's actually like funny and the crowd is into it. Just adds to that sort of anticipation as well.
Yep. 100%.
So we are getting close to the end of the show. So we are going to start going into guess 60 seconds with Piers. So we have given a bit of a brief to Ricky. We are going to fire off a lot of random questions. So are you ready for this one?
All right. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. You want to count me down, or you're going to just go in 3?
Go in 3. Blast them out. Let's go. I'm ready for this. I'm psyching myself
Okay.
up.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What is your favorite meal to cook?
Potato bake.
Uber Eats or menu log?
Uber Eats.
If you came with a warning label, what would it say?
Beware of dad.
What languages do you speak besides English?
Greek and learning a Spanish.
Aliens, real or fake?
Real.
Cadbury or Nestle?
Cadbury.
5-star hotel or camping?
5-star hotel.
Would you rather be 4'5" or 7'7"?
7'7".
Would you rather own a boat or a plane?
Plane.
What did you get in trouble most for as a child?
Shit. Probably swearing, actually.
If you delete a month from the calendar, what month would it be and why?
I would delete December because I dislike the Christmas cheer.
Time. Jesus, you are a Grinch, aren't you? Shit.
I am a Grinch. I dislike the Christmas cheer. People are too happy in December. Too happy.
You know what? Like, I'm not a Christmas person either, and like I've found since I've had kids, I've really had to dig deep to find it because I'm just like, fuck. Like like that time of year just shits me up the wall because it's just a nightmare everywhere you go. It's like
everywhere you go, there's Christmas decorations, there's Christmas themed food. Like, I just want normal food. I want to go to the supermarket and hear normal music. I don't want to hear Mariah Carey like 100 times.
Or be able to go and get a car parking spot in 5 minutes and not have to wait like an hour just to get in there.
The only hesitation I may have to not delete December is like if I delete December, that means the summer of cricket's royally screwed, and I love cricket.
Maybe like you could delete a part of December.
Maybe a part of December. Maybe certain aspects that I dislike.
The final few like days and weeks, or the final week of December, you can just fuck right off, huh?
Yeah, but then I'm on, man, Boxing Day test. Fuck. I love the Boxing Day test, so it's a hard one.
Okay, eliminate the one day then. Oh no, because you want to get rid of. Okay.
But I don't know. I'll stick with December. If losing Christmas means I have to lose the summer of cricket, I'm okay with that.
Mate, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on Shooting the Shit Uncensored again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on and talking to you. And, mate, all the best in the future. I look forward to seeing you at the next show. And, mate, hopefully we get to catch up and have a beer and toast to the championship, mate.
No worries, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it very much. Second time, to all the sponsors and to all the fans who came on and watched us just shoot the shit. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, guys. Also, make sure you tune in on Saturday at 11 a.m. Australian time, which will be 8 a.m. USA Eastern. We have Angel Medina's new show, Killing the Business. That's right. He's the ECW original, and he streams his show on MWA Podcast Network every Saturday at 11. So make sure you tune in for that. Guys, I've got some interviews coming up as well. Make sure you keep an eye out on our Twitter and our Instagram and our Facebook to see all of the updates. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button somewhere along there, hit the like, hit the share. And until next time, guys, and also one other, I want to say a special thanks to Heel Turn Wrestling. They do amazing products, and they also allow me to stream this wonderful show in their group. So make sure you go and follow Heel Turn Wrestling and check out all their latest content. But guys, till next time, I'm Piers, this is Ricky, and we'll see you soon. Peace.